On the starboard, we shall attack our very sexy enemy with our next move. Now wait for my command. Steady, 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 fire! Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy here today to review the anime Arpeggio of Blue Steel. Now, Arpeggio of Blue Steel takes place in a somewhat post-apocalyptic world where global warming has caused the sea levels to rise, covering most of Earth's landmass underwater. It's from this that an unknown yet extremely powerful fleet of warships, known as the Fleet of Fog, devastate the world's naval forces, form a naval and aerial blockade, and destroy all forms of communication, preventing people from communicating with each other. Years after the Fleet of Fog's arrival, we follow Chiya Gonzo, a former student of the Japanese National Marine Academy, who for some unexplained reason is able to command one of the Fog's submarines, known as I-401, and its mental model, Iona, and decides, you know what, I'm just gonna leave the academy and be a part of this really badass submarine. And just a little while later, after leaving the academy, Gonzo and his crew are tasked by the Japanese government to deliver a weapon to the United States that will shift the balance of war, as well as dealing with the various threats from the Fleet of Fogs. Now, I walked into this anime completely blind, not knowing what to expect or even what the story was all about. All I really knew is that it was a war anime, and that's about it. But let me tell you, this anime caught me completely off guard. Like, I was not expecting the anime to be like this with its overall presentation. And I will go into more detail as to what I mean by that. But overall, I actually ended up really enjoying this anime. The biggest thing that caught me completely off guard with this anime was the fact that it was done entirely in 3D animation. I thought it was just gonna be traditional 2D animation, but the moment that I saw the first episode, I'm like, oh no. 3D animation, oh no, how am I gonna feel about this? Now, given the fact that a 3D anime is a completely new and foreign concept to me, I could have reacted in one of two ways. I could have reacted like this. I hate it! 2D animation's better! I hate it! Or I could have reacted like this. Wow, this is such an interesting and unique take on animation for this anime. I gotta give them some props for doing something so daring. I actually really appreciate its uniqueness. Way to go, anime. And I won't lie, for the first two episodes, I did act more like, I hate it! But as the anime continued, I got accustomed to the change and actually began to start appreciating it for its artistic merits. I mean, it does look really solid, some really vivid backgrounds, and some solid character designs. I mean, each character looks freaking fantastic. As far as 3D animes go, I don't necessarily have a major issue with them. I'm just more accustomed to animes being done in the traditional 2D animation style. When I saw this anime, it was just such a jarring and shocking experience, being somebody that only watched 2D anime, and now here I am watching a 3D anime for the first time. I was like, oh my god! But once I got my foot in the door, I started to acclimate to it, and I actually ended up really liking it. So whether it's 2D or 3D, as long as you look freaking awesome, I got no problem with you. And tying in with the animation, one of the major advantages for utilizing 3D animation is that they make for some really entertaining, exhilarating, thrilling, and compelling action sequences, which this anime most definitely delivers. Not only that, but I gotta give this anime some major props on uniqueness, as this is one of the few animes that focuses on battleship battles. I don't really see a lot of like boat action in animes. I think the only one that kind of comes to mind is Black Lagoon, but they don't even use it that much. This anime, it's entirely focused on maritime action, and it looks freaking fantastic. I mean, the bright colors, the explosions, the tactics, I mean, the action scenes kept me on the edge of my seat, and I enjoyed every single one of them. All I need now is an anime that focuses on either tank battles or epic dogfights, and I'll be complete. Now, the concept and story of this anime isn't anything new. We have seen this in other animes before, but its approach is still quite interesting. Arguably, the most well-handled and most interesting facet of this anime story is the existential dilemma that the members of the Fog face throughout the entire series, as they're trying to figure out who they are, what's their purpose, are they nothing more than machines? And they really grow from this existential dilemma that they face, and I, for one, found it just enthralling to see. There's also this very interesting and touching side story that happens in the middle of the anime about this girl named Maki, who serves a really major purpose to the plot, but I don't want to give it away, and it also kind of ties back into that whole existential dilemma faced by the Fog, as Maki kind of connects with some of the members of the Fog, one in particular named Haruna, and it was just very interesting and so touching to see them kind of bond and grow into this really interesting friendship. Really well done episode. And speaking of episodes, episodes 10 through 12, my god, they were engaging and intense, particularly episode 10, which in my opinion was the best episode in the entire series. I mean, it was emotionally gripping, it was intense, it really touched me, it had some gorgeous animation and lovely music. The characters were just on point. Everything about episode 10 was near perfection in my opinion. And now let's talk about the characters in the anime, most of which were entertaining and such a treat to watch, especially when they were having their little anime moments where they're just messing around with each other or jumping on each other. It was just a true treat and delight to see, especially for a fan of romantic comedies. All the romantic comedy tropes that happen in the anime, I just ate that shit up and I loved it. Not to mention, some of the characters have really good development given to them, particularly the mental models of the Fog. As I mentioned earlier, they are dealing with this whole existential dilemma of what they are, who they are they just merely weapons or could they be something more? And you really see their characters come full circle and grow throughout the entire anime. Some of my favorite characters in the anime is first off Gunzo. Although this character does lack heavily in development, he damn sure makes up for it by being a very charismatic and interesting leader and a very smart battle tactician. And speaking of characters that radiate towards the MC, we got my personal favorite member of the Fog, Takao. I love her very tsundere-like personality, her very blue hair, and you could say that she is just really enamored by Gonzo, but I personally feel like it's much deeper than that. It's not just a lust or love for Gonzo, but a devotion to him, and that's clearly shown in episode 10, which again was just all around beautiful. But this character was just a hoot. So much fun, so energetic, so loud and abrasive. Haruna and Maki were also really fun characters to watch, and they had probably the strongest relationship in the entire anime. And one thing that I really liked about Haruna is whenever you would take away her jacket, she would start like withering, like, give my jacket back. But when she puts it on, she's like, Shakeen. And the last thing I'll mention about characters in this anime, which I also really appreciated that the anime addressed and earned them tons of respect from me, was the fact that they actually go out of their way to explain why all the mental models of the Fog look female. And the reason behind it is actually quite feasible. Like, I thought they were just gonna make them look like females for fan service sake. No real reason and no real explanation. But no, there's a reason, there's an explanation, and it makes freaking sense. I was so happy and delighted. Good job, anime! And the last thing that I personally liked about the anime was the ending theme. It was just really catchy, it looked really cool, and I just love the song now. Now, for all the anime's good elements come the bad elements. The biggest issue with this anime was that the human aspect of the story was heavily underdeveloped, lacking any sort of interest or engagement. development. The reason that this is such a major issue in the anime is because from the very beginning they displayed the human struggle to survive from the Fleet of Fog's threat as being a major vocal point in the anime. And yes, it still is a underlining story plot line, but it's just not as developed, not as fleshed out, or even that interesting or engaging to begin with. And that's because the anime story gives more focus and attention to the antagonists of the series, the Fleet of Fogs and its members, rather than giving attention to the human side of the story and its members. Now granted, the Fleet of Fogs are arguably the more interesting facets of the story, but you could have had a really good balance between the Fog and the human characters. I mean, the human characters are completely sidelined in this anime. In fact, the human members of Gonzo's crew get less screen time and development than the Fog members of Gonzo's crew, which I thought was a damn shame, as the human characters looked really interesting. I would have loved to learn more about them. Why did they decide to leave the academy? In fact, there's this one character that has like a helmet on, and I was like, why does he have the helmet on? Never really explained or explored or even given much development. Hell, even the captain himself, Gonzo, as I mentioned earlier, was heavily lacking in development. Yeah, sure, you get a glimpse of development in the first episode, but that is it. You learn nothing more about the character, nothing more of his personality, and that is a damn shame, as he is the captain of the freaking submarine. And probably the last major issue with this anime, or at least for me, honestly, is all the excessive and blatant fan service thrown into the anime. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with fan service. I think fan service is great if done correctly. The problem with the fan service in this anime is it just comes off distracting in some very pivotal, very intense, and very dramatic scenes. Like there's this one scene where after a major battle, we see one of the characters just like laying down and all she's wearing is like a bra and a panty. I'm like, are you freaking serious? Was there really a point for her to be half naked? No. If you're going to use fan service in your anime, whether it's a drama or a comedy, it doesn't matter. You have to know when to use it correctly, and this anime most certainly did not. Overall, besides some minor issues and jarring animation at first, I really got a kick out of Arpeggio of Blue Steel. It's an anime that I was really invested in and I really enjoyed, and I would love to see a second season 2, as I would love to see these characters interact more and go on more adventures, and has also given me some newfound hope for 3D animation integration into anime. If 3D anime start looking more like this, it has a bright future. And that's why I'm going to give this anime a 4 out of 5 stars. I highly recommend that you all go watch this anime because it is worth watching. But anyway, what did you guys think of this anime? Did you really enjoy it? Did you get a kick out of it? Or did you find it really boring and dull and you were unimpressed by the ship battles? And I would love to know what your thoughts are on animes that are made completely in 3D. Are you with it? Are you against it? Are you in the middle? Comment below and let me know. And stay tuned tomorrow for the next BCG Top 10 list. It's going to be a really interesting one. I have a few movie reviews coming down the pipeline and a live chat this Sunday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It will be the last live chat I do in this house because I'm going to be moving soon. But until these videos come, guys, if you would like to be a part of the Black Critic crew and not miss out on a single awesome video on this channel, please hit that subscribe button below. Like this video if you really enjoyed it. And I'm Tony Watt II, the captain of the SS BCG. Till then, peace, YouTube. I hate it!